continuing in our little journey together. I hope, and I hope that it is making sense to you. I thought today that I might talk a little bit about predictions. This is obviously something that is of interest to us all, and it has gone on forever, I think. People are interested in what's going to happen. And in the last session, I think, or the earlier ones, we were talking about time, and there being no time in the spirit world, but in the physical world we do have time. And it is, I don't suppose there's anybody that isn't intrigued by looking around the corner a little bit and seeing what might happen. You have, I suppose, it must be the most enduring form, that would have gone back as far back as there are any records at all, that you would have people who are known as fortune tellers, so on, and people who read cards and do all sorts of different things about how to divine the future. And obviously in the whole material coming from Chewbacca, this was brought up, the idea of predictions and how does they happen. Well, one of the things and the ways of looking at it was that suppose that I'm walking along a road and I'm coming I'm going on a particular journey, and I'm coming, I will be coming towards a crossroads, and then maybe I'll have to stop and wonder which way do I go from here. And then I maybe make up my mind that I'll go one way or the other way. Suppose that there's somebody up in a helicopter looking at me walking along the road, and that person in the helicopter can see that I'm going to be coming up towards this crossroad, and they can see that I'm stopping, trying to make up my mind, and they can see that then I'm going to go a particular direction. So that's a way of doing it, that if you like to say, often our guides, for instance, can point a direction for us, that can show us the way. They can sometimes that the things that come up with about what will come up in our lives, but it's like that of having this broader view. There's not necessarily something miraculous in a way of how they can foretell the future. It's more like being in a different dimension and being able to see it in a whole broader way and seeing the way it's going. You see, I hope, do you understand what I mean? Then it takes a lot of the mystery out of it, if you like. Now, I'm told that that it's easier to do that, say, with a particular person that, say, that my guides will have worked with me on what I want to do with my life. And they're able to see how I'm going with that, and they're able to see in the broader picture. And they're able to see in the way that I'm going, where I'm going to reach if I continue in the same direction. Now sometimes I may not, of course, but generally speaking, people tend to, if they're on a particular route, that they'll tend to continue along that route. So it's much easier in that way, I'm told, to make individual predictions, or predictions for individuals, that that their path, if you like, can be more easily foretold by the way way that they're walking on it or being on it. And that's why then that when you come into the whole area of global predictions, that this seems to be very difficult. And I know that I've often come across that with books that I've read, like of some people who are famous as foretellers of the future and so on, you know. But yes, when you look at global predictions, that often they're way off the mark. And that's because, of course, that you have such a variety of people, such a variety of energies in the whole global scene, and that they're all maybe, you know, going different directions, and it's more difficult to see the whole shape of how it'll turn out, even though the guys may be way above having a look at it. And that's why I think there are all sorts of dire predictions have been made from time to time about the world and the ending of the world, you know, that it will all come about in such and such year and so on, such and such a time. And essentially, again, this is just my understanding, but these things have no meaning at all, you know, because it sort of things aren't as sort of as rigid as that, you know, that way. And indeed, in terms of the world or Earth as we know it, that it has not indeed achieved its purpose at all yet, you know, that it's there, and it was designed to help us to grow in awareness and consciousness ourselves because of its very restrictedness. But obviously it hasn't gone anywhere near achieving its purpose, and for that reason one can say, well, that it'll be around for a long time, maybe not in the form that it is in, and all sorts of changes and so on, but nonetheless that there's no such thing as Armageddon in the way that it has been understood. And so overall, I suppose then the thing about predictions is that it can be very enjoyable to get predictions, but maybe not to place too much store on them. You know, that sometimes that they can be way off, and it can be difficult for people if they get controlled by them. And sometimes I have come across this from time to time, that people have been given predictions. I remember one man, for instance, being told that he was going to die when he was in his late 30s, and I remember he came to see me, and he was taking this literally, very literally, and it was going to happen. And I had to work with him on it and show, well, no, it wasn't like that at all, you know, that it wouldn't. This was whoever was doing the reading out, giving the prediction for him, that they were misinterpreting something in a way, that it could be just that there was some change coming up in his life around that time, and that like this death, of course, is change, is seen as an ultimate change in terms of physical life, but there are all sorts of different times in one's life that things change, and that not to see things literally in that way, but it can be very risky and very troubling for people if they go too literally by that, you know. So this is one of the things that again has come up in terms of the material that was conveyed to me, and I just thought it might be nice, well, I hope it's nice to share it with you, and that you might find it interesting, and not to worry, like, do enjoy predictions if you want to, but realise that there can be many different interpretations, and not to be too controlled by them, and if they're nice ones, and maybe they will come true, and that's lovely. So bye for now.